have you made your mark? Our goal is to introduce to you the people and ideas to help you fulfill your dreams. Today, we have a very inspiring story of someone from New Guinea, you know, the jungle and everything else. And she grew up, she actually had to work her way through in getting her college degree herself. And then at the end of her college, she was actually recruited to in a telecommunications company that literally felt that she was so good that they actually let her spearhead the office in Hong Kong. You know, she doesn't even know Cantonese or anything, but she took the opportunity and just flew all the way there. So she not only grew the Hong Kong team, she was asked to go and set up the South Korea team, you know, set up the company there. And the coolest part is when she went there, she did not know a single word of Korean. And at that time, Korea literally did not have any English translation or anything. Everything was in Korean, and she was struggling, you know, but literally she overcame that obstacle, and she went to learn a bit of Korean with some help. And best part was, within a few years, she literally brought in 70% of the sales in her company. You know, isn't that amazing? You know, after that career, she also went, you know, and traveled the world, and talking about New York, you know, in America. At the same time, she also stayed in Europe and literally traveled the world. And she decided to settle down in Singapore. And in Singapore, she's been here for just under 20 years. And literally, you know, from a job, she has also evolved to starting something on the side to create that passive income for her. And what's really amazing, she also knew no one in Singapore, and she literally has grown her network, as well as now moving towards being an inspirational story, you know, to share with the world, and she wants to give back to society. So without further ado, let us welcome this most amazing and dynamic, positive thinking lady, Harley Davidson, Harley Davidson rider, none other than Deborah. Hey Deborah, how are you today?
Good to see you.
Thank you so much for coming down today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So, you know, could you tell me more about yourself? Like, you know, how you started off, you know, in your MNC job, and then what have you been doing and evolved to where you are today?
Sure. So I started my university studies in nursing, so Bachelor of Science, and quickly realized that's not what I wanted to do. And one of the things that I was doing during my university, I had to put myself through university. My parents couldn't afford to pay. So I was also working part-time as a waitress, hospitality. And from the hospitality industry, I was actually introduced to a couple of people who had businesses, and they said, we really like how you talk to people. So I went into customer service for a telecommunications company. And the telecom company started to actually innovate and go overseas. So at that time, it was international direct dial, which is long distance dialing. And they asked me, would I like to go to Hong Kong to actually help lead up one of their Hong Kong place, their new office. And of course I said yes. So I was there, and within you know, the first 3 months I was struggling a little bit because it was very new. I adapt quite quickly, but I just found it very hard because I was by myself. I didn't have any of my family. But, you know, I just thought, look, this is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to live overseas and work with, you know, a really good company. And then they said to me, look, we're opening our new Korea office. Would you like to go to Korea? And I thought, sure, why not? You know, I get to see another country. Korea was even more challenging because back then there was no English. So I was very, very fortunate because I'm female and I'm a Westerner. I got away with a lot. 70% of the company's revenue was actually coming from myself in a new environment because they didn't know how to deal with me. But when they picked me up from the airport, that was that was really interesting because I got picked up on a Thursday. And by Saturday, I was pulling my hair out because nobody spoke English. There was no English signage, and I was kind of lost. And I found my way on the MRT system, the train system they have, in an area that was more where the embassies and things. And I thought, well, at least I might find a Western face, right? Because I can't find anyone here. And the first Western person I saw, poor guy, I ran up to him and said, please tell me you speak English. And he was like, yes, actually, I teach English here. He's from Canada. And there was a group of teachers that were actually there. So they were my first group of people that introduced me to Korea. And then he took me to a bookshop where I actually taught myself how to read and write Korean.
Wow.
Because back then there was no English. So I was forced into a situation that, you know, I had to learn very quickly. And then from there, I actually was taken to Singapore. Yay! So I've been in Singapore nearly 20 years.
Wow.
And
Singaporean love.
Exactly, Singapore local almost. And I was working with a global internet company, and we actually helped bring internet to Australia, the fast-speed, high-speed internet and Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically from there I went into recruitment and really loved recruitment. And then not SARS, the
SARS, yeah.
No, the 2007 Lehman Brothers.
Oh, Lehman Brothers
Yeah,
crash.
completely crashed. So that was interesting. That was kind of tough, but you deal with it. You work through it, and you move forward.
Okay.
After the Lehman Brothers crash, you know, there was a lot of Singaporeans who were out of jobs, and I was very, very lucky that I was able to keep my job, and the Singapore government kept renewing my EP.
Okay.
But when I tried to change jobs, because, you know, the company that I was working with wasn't going as well as I'd hoped, the government basically said no. So I was kind of stuck for 7 years. And one day I just came home to my husband and I said, I can't continue to do this because I love my job, but I just don't like where the company's going. And they put a lot more pressure on me. So I was doing actually 5 jobs for the same amount of money.
Okay.
In fact, a little bit less money because I was recruiting at the time, and with all the rest of the jobs that I had, the money coming in was less because there wasn't any commission anymore. So I just said, I can't do this anymore. It's too much pressure. I was coming home sometimes 1, 2 o'clock at night, and my relationship with, you know, my family started to be affected because I was constantly angry. And so I started looking for something that I could do for myself, that I could actually work on and be my own boss. And I think for a lot of people that's really the ultimate goal, right? So I came across a concept that was super awesome, that gave me that opportunity, and I've been basically working in that, doing my own hours and earning enough money that I could actually say goodbye to my boss.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I've been doing ever since.
Okay. So, you know, coming back to, thank you very much for sharing, you know, your story. And I think there were a lot of cases where you went through a lot of struggles. And, you know, what we want to find out from you today was, you know, what did you do in your own self? Like, how do you overcome those obstacles? And, you know, is there a system behind where, okay, I did this, you know, where I came across this issue, I thought I need to focus on a solution or something like that. How did you go about, you know, changing that around?
So I guess because of my background, where I came from, you know, like growing up in New Guinea for the first 7 years of my life, we were self-reliant. We had to rely on ourselves. We couldn't just, you know, talk to anyone or have someone come over to help us. So I'm very lucky that my parents gave me that opportunity and taught me at a young age, you have to be reliant on yourself. But at the same time, you know, there is that fear. What if it doesn't work? What if, you know? And I got to a point where I said, you know what? I'm tired of what if. What if this happens? Well, what if the sky falls in? What if, you know, the earth opens up and I get swallowed up? I mean, the scenario is really ridiculous. And then I changed it to a more positive. Well, what if it does go well? What if, when I do make that change, I feel better in myself? And so I started becoming more positive, and I started doing a lot of self-development and listening to motivational music and things that actually get you pumped up and excited, rather than listening to all of the bad things going on in the world. I personally believe there's a lot of good in people, and you have to look for the good, because, everyone can find bad.
Yes.
So if you're not looking for the good, of course you're going to find the bad. Yeah. So I always believe, look, in this situation, I need to move, because if I don't move, for example, my recruitment job, I was there 7 years. Well, what happens in another 7 years? Am I going to be in the same situation? And then you're always waiting for that next, what if I get my next promotion? My next promotion never came. And then I'm thinking, well, another 7 years, maybe it never came. So I suddenly realized I'm wasting my life. I'm not doing what I really want. And yes, you still need to pay your bills. Yes, you still need to do the basics and look after your family. But why can't you do both? And so one of the situations when I'm in that, where I look at poor me, how do I get out of this? I always ask, how can I? And what if I can do this? What if I make that change and it's awesome? And even if I make the change and it's not awesome, at least I did something. And you get lessons from that as well. So whether it works or it doesn't work, you still learn. And it's about making those small little changes that you actually make a huge, massive change later on.
Yeah, so let me get this straight. So basically, when you're in a situation that it's bad, your thoughts is, okay, I'm gonna think positive. Let's focus on what if it works really well.
Yep.
And focus on that and just drive towards that. And
Correct.
Even that, take it with a pinch of salt. Hey, maybe it won't work out totally, but at least I did try something that it works out. Correct?
And don't just sit and wait, because if you sit and wait, you have to take that step. And don't worry if it's not a step that you're worried that maybe it won't work. Take a leap of faith, because what if it does work? So that's why I always believe, and sometimes it may be a little situation where you're thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done that, it's worse. But there are always doors that open. One door closes, another door opens, always. So you just have to be looking for that door.
Okay.
Yeah. And the saying, silver lining in every cloud, I truly believe that, because, even in the darkest depths, there is always something good and something positive you can take from it.
It's very good. That was a really great story, Deborah. What I really liked is, how you actually capture your thoughts, instead of going the negative route, and you actually say, okay, what if we go the positive route, and let's just take action and move towards it. I can totally reflect with that. That's something I did recently. I really caught my own thoughts when I realized it's going the wrong negative route. And once I flipped that around, things were a lot better. And maybe just one more question. You've taken that positive route, and earlier you said something on, taking that small positive route slowly but steadily over and over again. Are you talking about it on a daily basis, or are you talking about like every time there's a situation where I just need to take it?
I hear you. So was it a massive change and I just suddenly went, okay, that's it, and then dropped everything and completely no? One of the things that I do every day is I listen to this motivational piece every morning. So when I wake up, irrespective, the alarm goes off, and yes, I am one of those ones that presses snooze, but during that snooze time, I also press play. And Denzel Washington is the guy who actually does this, and he was talking about saying thank you, being grateful. And I think a lot of times when we're caught up in our own little situation, we don't realize that we actually aren't that bad off. It's just that we're caught up in our own little world. And so every single day when you press this, he talks about being grateful for just being alive, grateful that you're living in a country where, you know, there's no war, grateful that you actually have food on the table, something tiny and really small. Exactly, but it puts you in the right frame of mind. And those little things every day actually help motivate you. And when you are feeling, oh no, this is gonna, then you have to really switch yourself and start to say, okay, well, how can I change my mindset? Because it really is down to mindset. And I'm glad you were talking about, you know, the daily little things, because it is those small little things that actually make a big impact. Now, when you first start, sure, you still have bad thoughts and you still have, you know, negative thoughts. But I've noticed over time, I've actually become a lot happier. I've actually started being grateful for my family, grateful for where I live, grateful for so many things that, you know, grateful for the rain when it's raining, things that you would never think of. And, you know, I think those small changes have a massive impact further down the line. And I honestly believe that, you know, step by step, it's not like a massive, huge jump and a complete turnaround. It's just those little steps that have such a big impact later on.
Talking about the topic on giving gratitude, I've also read, and to be honest, I think all the interviews, all of them say the same thing.
Wow.
So, you know, it's really, really good to hear it from you, like, really good to hear from, and it just reinforces what we've been reading and researching. And one of the routines was even before you sleep, you actually give thanks or, you know, gratitude for so-called meditate over the good things that happen in the day. And
you're correct. So one of the things I also do at night is, you were talking about theta waves previously, and I have like a meditation that I play while I'm drifting off to sleep. So, you know, a lot of people look at the news and they put bad things into their head. So, you know, like, there is always going to be bad things happening, but you've just got to find the good in those. And if you go to bed with a negative outlook and you have that in your head, then that's what you're going to reflect on while you're dreaming, while you're sleeping. So again, you need to switch that, you know, and put it into a positive mindset. And the way to do that is to actually have those meditational theta waves in the background while you're drifting off to sleep. And you can just play one that will help you sleep, actually, which is really cool. So it is, you know, a combination of not just in the day, but also at night before you go to bed as well.
Cool. We'll definitely chat more on this later on after offline. So I'm just going to ask you one more question.
Sure.
Actually, two more questions. So the first question is, you know, what are your aspirations in terms of, you know, sending your message to the world, and, you know, what do you hope to achieve maybe in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I mean, obviously I'm looking at the moment for myself and my family, because I want to help them get into a situation where, you know, we're comfortable. And sure, we're comfortable right now compared to a lot of people, and we want to give back as well. So we also give back to charities, doing a lot of that sort of work. But more than that, I see so many people out there that don't know what to do, don't know how to start, and don't know how to take that action, but particularly women. And for some reason, I have no idea why, but women tend to more rely on their daddies to start with, and then their husbands or their uncles, or I don't know, it's that male figure that they seem to think that, oh, I have to follow the rules and I have to follow what my parents say, or what my uncle or my auntie, or, you know what I mean, like that the male figure seems to dominate their world, and then they're trapped in this world where they're always following what other people expect of them. So my goal, if you like, is to help them set themselves free, because if you're always worried about what other people think, you are never going to achieve your full potential. And I really hope that what I'm doing and where I'm going is I can also help other people to achieve their goals, their aspirations, give them some inspiration to make a change, because most people just give up, or they feel like it's hopeless, it's useless, there's no point me changing anything because it's not going to work. Well, I don't believe that. I don't agree with that. And I think sometimes you need to surround yourself with people who have that positive mindset, who can actually help you. And that's another change that I also made. Again, it's such a small change, but I started to have people that, you know, were there when I needed them. Okay, if I'm feeling down, who can I call? Who can I, you know, help me in this situation? And now I've got a very good group of people around me who actually give me those positive vibes that, you know, help when I'm feeling down and give me that boost when I need it, because, you know, you can't be up all the time. And, you know, one of the things that I also believe is through the positive thinking, if you don't know the dark days, then how do you know the really good sunny days, right? So you have to have both. It's just a matter of how you deal with it when it comes. And one of my favorite sayings is, instead of worrying about when the rain comes, learn how to dance in the rain. So I love that.
Yeah, it's a very good visual.
Yeah.
You know, talking about visual here, I totally agree. You know, putting yourself in that visual sense, because when you say that, correct me if I'm wrong, but you and your brain, you visualize you yourself dancing in the rain.
Yes.
Correct?
Absolutely.
And it creates that imagery, it creates that feeling, the positive and everything.
Yep.
It just feels good about it.
And visualizing where you are going to go as well. You know, everybody wants to have the ultimate lifestyle, right? To have all the money in the world. But, you know, it's not about that. It's about how much impact you can give to the world. And I think one of the biggest things that, you know, a lot of people miss is that you may have all the money in the world, but how much impact have you actually created in the world? And the more that's given to you, the more responsibility you have to give back. And I'm a big believer in that. And, you know, one of the other things that I truly believe is the more we impact others, we actually gain so much more back. And you don't seem that that's possible until you actually physically experience it. And it's not necessarily, you know, like giving to charity or anything, but just giving your time to someone who's lonely. You know, just calling a friend who you haven't spoken to for a while, because you don't know how much impact just that call could have to that friend. You know, you don't know, just that small little thing could brighten up their day. And, you know, a smile to a stranger, you know, who's having a bad day. So those things are more valuable than money, you know. And yes, everybody wants that ultimate lifestyle, but I guess at the end of the day, you know, when you're done and dusted, the way that your life is going to be represented is by how many people actually are there to attend your funeral, to say goodbye, because that shows you as a person, and that shows your life and how much impact you had on others.
Yeah, I totally agree. Which is perfect. It came to the other question.
Okay, good.
It just flows directly. So last question, you know, how do you feel about yourself? How are you going to impact and transform the world? What's the one thing that you're going to do?
Honestly, I think I'm already making a difference, because you know, I've been very, very blessed. Just recently, actually, I was invited to another event where, you know, people were asking about challenges and how you overcame them. And from that, I had a lot of people come up to me and say, wow, your story really, really hit home. I have a friend who has this situation. I personally am going through this situation, and you know what you've said really is inspired me to make changes, has inspired me to do something small for that friend, or do something for myself. And so I think I'm already making changes, but obviously I want to do it on a bigger scale in the sense that there are so many people out there that are begging, and they don't realize it, but they're begging for something else in their life, something that they can look forward to, because a lot of people lose their dreams and aspirations and what they really want to achieve in life because life gets them down. Life just piles on. And I think a lot of people just settle.
Satisfied.
Exactly. I'm not even satisfied. They just settle.
Okay.
I'm not going to achieve this, or I'm not going to do this in my life, so I'll just get on with my life. Yeah. And so they do. They give up on their dreams. And I don't think that that is what they really want. So my goal is to actually help people get their dreams back, give them an opportunity to aspire for something more. And it doesn't have to be, like the president of the US, it doesn't have to be, Miss Singapore. It can be something small, but it gives them hope. And I think hope is one of the key fundamentals of people living their life and being who they should be. So that's really what I hope to achieve, and that's really what I'd love to give other people. And especially women, I think we have a lot of camaraderie that you can't explain to a man, sorry.
That's fine.
But, we support each other in ways that we just support each other in a different way. And I think a lot of women forget how that feels, and we're always tearing each other down. Oh, look at her, like what's she wearing, things like that.
Suppressed.
Yeah. So I think we need to just go beyond that and start supporting more women and showing them, we are here to help. And if you do need, talk to us. There's groups of women that are here that want to help you move forward and achieve what you need to achieve. And you do need to have that, strong relationships and strong group, as well as your own mindset and your own
that's
motivation.
That's
I guess
so true. The key message I would say is really the person needs to open up, and don't be so conservative. Open up. Your friends are there. You may think, the friends might think something else, but actually the friends will be there. You just need to open up. And I experienced it. I'm not a lady, but I think as a human being, everyone just needs to open up.
Sure.
And the good nature of all humans is we really want to help more people. And and especially women, they're definitely more closely knitted. Men are just more machos, and it's just their ego getting in the way.
To some respect, but I've seen a lot of men as well who are very caring, but society has put these restraints on them. Yeah, exactly. So it's not just about women as well, but I think with the women, we tend to have that feeling that, oh no, we can't go to our full potential because what would my husband say, what would my family say, what would my kids say, and I have to protect them and I have to look after them. Well, you can do both. And I honestly believe that there are ways that we can do that, and if I can in some small way help, then I've achieved what I want.
Great. So the audience can come and find you,
Of
right?
course. Absolutely.
So could you tell the audience to the camera, where can they find you on Instagram, on Facebook, and if you can just say out your Instagram name or.
Okay, well, I am on both. I am not so prevalent, but you're more than welcome to come and join me on Deborah Spendlove-Collins. Okay, so it's a very long name, but there's only one.
Can you spell it out?
I will, okay. DEBORAH Spendlove, SPENDLOVE -Collins, COLLINS. So you can find me because there's only one of me, unfortunately. Fortunately. And please come and connect. I'd love to speak to you.
Yeah. So that was great. Everyone, thank you for watching. This is Make Your Mark. This is an interview with Deborah. Thank you very much, Deborah.
Thank you
It was
for
really
coming.
great having you. For those who get close to Deborah, she might actually take you on her Harley Davidson as well. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this interview. We look forward to having you on our next interview. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll definitely see you on the next interview.